What is up, everybody? Welcome on into the Warchant.com recruiting call-in show with Michael Langston. I'm Aslan Hajjamani. Thanks for being here. Phone lines are open, 850-805-5911. We're going to talk recruiting, and some more recruiting. If you could, subscribe to Warchant.com. Promo code's Warchant30 for 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source. Maybe even subscribe to our YouTube channel. The subscribe button is in the lower right corner of the screen. You can set your notifications for however frequently or infrequently you'd like to be notified when we drop new content, whether it's this show, the podcast, the Warchant Wrap with Ira and Corey after the games, or the insight that Gene gives us. What else can they do to help us out, Michael?
You can hit that like button for us, especially today. Can give you guys a little special treat because right after this is over, I got a massive amount of nuggets I'm gonna drop after this chat. I've been working on this all day, so there's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna cover in there. Certainly, I kind of teased a little bit. There's going to be several early enrollee updates of guys that are planning on enrolling early. Just let you guys know, I think it's around the double-digit mark. So certainly that would be a big boost. And I'm going to go into just all the prospects and different things that are going on. Certainly, there's a lot of activity of different things of kids make commitments, kids coming up, decisions coming up, and then also guys that they're heavily active with, and even some few surprises in there of guys that I think to watch out for. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that I have in there as far as the post nuggets. I'll also answer all your questions that are posted on the PRB, so keep throwing them in there, and I'll get to those right after this chat's over. So just a little bit something to add even more as far as what we're going to bring to this recruiting chat and post recruiting chat.
Right on. Let's begin then. We got some callers filing in here, but first, Giovanni asked, how often does a freshman defensive end make an instant impact at big programs? Brian Burns came in as a freshman, racked up 9.5 sacks, later corrected himself, 8.5. Is there someone on the recruiting board who has that kind of potential, Michael?
I don't know if there's, thanks for the question, Giovanni. I don't know if there's somebody that's like you're talking about 9.5 sacks as a freshman. That's a lot. I think a guy that could certainly fit that mold is Byron Turner out of New Orleans. He's a guy that is a pure pass rusher. He's probably one of the most pure guys as far as getting after the quarterback and getting in the backfield that you'll see on this commitment list already. I'm sure there's other guys that they're going to be working on, like JUCO guys and even grad transfers, because that's a place they certainly need a massive upgrade at. They just they're not getting the pass rush they need consistently. We've seen that in the games. Obviously, it got a boost with Kane Doe playing last week. There was a little bit of an upstick there as far as getting a little more pressure, but they're just not getting what they need to accomplish this defense and what they want. So they certainly need pass rushers. But I think Byron Turner's the guy that just really jumps out to me. He's a guy that I think can certainly make an impact even in his first year as far as getting after the quarterback.
All right. Well, that said, let's go ahead and open the phone lines. Let's take our first call of the day. Welcome on into the Warchant.com recruiting call show with Michael Langston. Who's this and where are you calling us from?
Hey, Michael. Hey, Aslan. It's Gator Kirk from Virginia Beach, 757.
There he is. That's right, man. What's going on, big dog?
In the house.
Yeah. Just relaxing. Got a little got home a little late today with some traffic, so I was like, man, I might not make it, but got lucky. Got home, and all of that. How are you guys doing out there?
Good, man.
Fantastic, doing well. Certainly, fortunately, we don't have to worry about this hurricane that's out there. I think going to hit the Louisiana area. So, prayers for all our friends and Seminole fans, or just fans in general of anybody, with the hurricane heading out there. So, thinking about those guys. But besides that, doing fantastic. Just ready to get another big chat going. And so, what's on your mind, Kirk?
I'd like to know about my dual sport athlete, my favorite one, regardless. Hopefully, he comes to us. Tywone Malone. Because I know you dropped something the other day, and I read it, but I think he's gonna make a decision by his birthday, which is like the 18th. If I have that correct.
Yeah, I have to look. I don't know exactly when he's decided. Yeah, he's an intriguing prospect. I don't think there's a clear favorite. I think the big news with Taiwan Malone was, Ohio State being eliminated. And I kind of told people like with that is like baseball's a big product, and Ohio State's not really known for premier baseball program. That's a big deal to Taiwan as we watch the highlights of him playing tight end, just freakish athlete. But I think they have a solid shot. When you look at, there's a good shot there. Now, do I think they're the leader? No. I'm just saying I think there's a good shot because his mom really likes Odell Higgins. She really likes they like everything that they do as far as the defensive front, the way the players are treated, but also FSU's done an extremely good job with Mike Martin Jr. in the baseball program, really selling that part of their program. They even sold that even more so, probably even than the football aspect. So I think they've done a really good job there. I think teams like Ole Miss, Rutgers, which is the home state school, Southern Cal, those are teams that are certainly heavily, I think, in the picture. But there hasn't been a clear favorite or leader at this stage. That's when I'm kind of looking to see and find out. But certainly he really connects with this FSU staff. So they certainly have a good shot and position themselves to have a chance to possibly pull out this monster.
All right, that'd be excellent. Be excellent to see him make a commitment to us. I mean, our baseball program was on their way last year until everything hit. And man, if you follow any of their stuff, their recruits, they're really doing gangbusters. And a kid I taught came from a JC college down there, and he just got over, I want to say, Tommy John surgery or something. He was mentioned on another broadcast the other week. So I'm like, hey, I mean, they got pictures coming out of their ears, so hopefully that'll be a big selling point. You guys always appreciate what y'all do. Anyone listening, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Support Zaxby's, and if you're not a member of Warchant, you don't get all those recruiting nuggets. And I can tell you, during the season, off season, you will be misinformed if you don't come to the source. You all have a great afternoon. Thanks for taking my call. Go Noles.
That's right, man. Gator Kirk, everybody. Virginia Beach.
Appreciate Kirk. Thank you, bud.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, man. In the Wind thinks we need Malone, which is
that's a given. I mean, certainly they need help in the trenches and in just about everywhere. Offensive line. I will say that too. It's like, this is mainly recruiting, but I've been very impressed just the job Coach Atkins has already done with that offensive line. I mean, I see a difference just on technique and the preparation, the way these guys are doing. Yeah, I mean, it's still a work in progress, but you can see development, and you can see the progress of what you with this team being able to run the ball. I mean, they haven't been able to run the ball pretty much the last 2 years. So I mean they were basically highlighting Cam Akers, but now they have a new group of guys, and certainly I know it's Jacksonville State, but they went out there and I think they're opening up lanes, and they're giving the quarterbacks passing lanes to go back there and make plays. So I think that's a thing that's improved, and I think recruits are taking notice of that. Now you got a big stage this weekend. If you can show that against a top 5 team, I'll come back and I'll just say it directly. It's not about the wins this weekend. Obviously, that would be dramatic, but it's about just looking good on the field, seeing that progress like we saw last weekend on the field. And certainly they could use a guy like Taiwan Malone. That would be big. But I just wanted to point that out, that stuff I saw, as far as on the field, there was actually a flow as far as the offensive, what we saw on offense. But now there's another chance for a big stage. They played Miami. That stage was flat. Now they got a chance for another big stage. It's not so much the win as it is the progress and the flow and the excitement of what this team can bring you. It's a work in progress. You're starting from the bottom. So I've said that many times, but I think last weekend was a good start. Oh.
Oh, this is why it doesn't work.
There we go.
I had myself muted.
Okay. I had to text Aslan and let him know he's muting.
I'm all over the place, man. But the air horn's still not working. I'm so sad, man. Why won't the air horn work? This is the worst day ever. But Ray Prairie helping things out. Other than Norvell, Michael, who's the best recruiter on the staff?
I think David Johnson's very good. I think both and Marcus Woodson's done a tremendous job. I think those two guys certainly stand out. And I think Alex Atkins has done a tremendous job. You think about landing a guy like Roderick Orr, who Tennessee he wanted badly. There was several other schools. Oregon was also in the mix. So I think those guys really kind of just jumped out to me early on as far as top recruiters. I think just not to say that the other ones are terrible. It's just those ones are just kind of jumped out to me already early on.
All right, man. Well, thank you, Ray. We do appreciate it. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get this horn working, darn it. No horn, no show, man. It's not the way it works. Let's go to the phone lines. We got a caller in the queue. Thanks so much for holding. Welcome on into the Warchant.com recruiting call and show with Michael Langston. Who's this? Where are you calling us from?
This is Daryl from North Carolina, and pray for I don't have to wait 49 minutes to get on the show tonight, my brother.
There you go. Welcome aboard.
I'm doing good, my man. I just, Michael, I hope you're having a good day. I know we had a good showing last week, and if we can get a good showing this week, I know Darius Mims makes his decision next week on his birthday. Is there any chance that Florida State gets a rabbit out of the hat? If Florida State can make a good showing, or even pulls up an upset out of in South Bend this coming Saturday. Get Darius Mims next week on his birthday.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the question. We appreciate the call in. He's talking about Amarius Mims out of Georgia, the number one offensive tackle in the country. FSU has done a tremendous job. I think they've done everything you can do. Obviously, anything can happen for a surprise. I think if they perform well this weekend, that would certainly, big boost. I still lean towards Georgia. Georgia's always been the team that he's liked. I mean, that's just – I haven't heard anything that would lead me to believe otherwise than that. It's a big thing that he likes Coach Atkins the most. I think he's making his decision on October 17th or something like that. It could be, Aslan could check on that. That's like 10 days away. So 10 or 11 days away. So, and I think he's said he's wanted to visit FSU before he makes a decision. So it wouldn't surprise me if he just came in there and did like a, midweek trip just to check out stuff and stuff like that. But I think overall, I think they've done everything you can do. It's really just comes down to, is he sold on the product? And that could be a big influence this weekend. If you go out there and say you play a game like, say you play a game where you fall like 31-21 or something like that, Aslan, or something where you're showing the flow, you're showing a good product on the field, you're showing the improvement on offense, doing what you can on defense and finding the right combination. It's not going to be perfect because, let's face it, that roster there's some flawed situations in that roster as far as making things play consistently in defense. But if you show that, say, a 31-21 game or a 31-24 game, I think that kind of game will certainly impress and make an impression on Amarius Mims as far as where things are going. And as I said, I think recruits are noticing what the offensive line is doing. Talked to several offensive line commits and in targets, and they have certainly seen it. I mean, they've seen the improvement. So really, it's just about, is he comfortable enough to that he sees that that's the place that he could possibly go and be the leader of that change and be the leader of that thing. I personally would stick with Georgia. That's why I think he's probably going to go to Georgia. But I've seen stranger things happen in recruiting. I never say never in recruiting, but I would swing more towards Georgia if I was making a pick. But certainly if he visits FSU right before his decision, you never know how these things can go. So, I mean, that's kind of my take on that. I think they have a shot. That's the main thing. They have a shot. I don't think he's called any coaches that told him, like, hey, I'm going to so-and-so. So I don't think a decision is really made. And if you're talking about him deciding on his birthday, which I think is October 17th or 18th, that's like 11 days away. 11 days is a long time to figure out what you're going to do. And while Georgia, I think, is the favorite, he has certainly left the door open for a lot of teams of not closing doors as far as that, seriously considering those teams. And he's already said, Coach Atkins is his favorite coach out of every coach. So that's significant. And but I think helping the product today will be a big deal.
October 14th.
Okay, October 14th. So that's 7 days away. So yeah, I mean, that's still time. We'll see if he follows through with that. Obviously, the more time FSU gets is the better for them. If that somehow is delayed a little bit later, we'll see. But I think FSU's done everything they can do. They've improved the product on the offensive line. They improved the product as far as on the field, as far as the offense, at least for 1 week. Now they get a big stage where they can really show Marius what they're going to do. I'm sure he's going to be watching that game and tuning in just to see how they look. But that's the main thing. If it was today, I mean, honestly, I would pick Georgia point blank. I mean, that's who I would pick. But I think there's areas where if he picked FSU, I wouldn't be just totally flabbergasted or stunned just because the relationship that already built there. And sometimes kids just want to do something different. So, yes, they will be the dark horse and the surprise, but I wouldn't be stunned. Let's put it that way.
All right, Daryl. We appreciate the call, man.
One more guy I wanted to ask you about River Helms. Have you heard anything about him as far as when he might make a decision?
Hate to cut you off, Daryl. I heard you mention River Helms, but we're going to have to let you go. Your call's not coming in all that clear. Can't hear you that well, but we do appreciate the call and you subscribing to the site, man. We really do. Thanks for the call, Daryl. What do we know about River Helms? I guess has he had a good start to his season thus far, Michael?
Yes, he's done very well. Probably the best receiving tight end out of all the guys that they had. They already have Kobe Gross and they have Jackson West already. I think River Helms is the one that's coming up. I want to say October 11th is when he's assigned, so that should be coming soon. Central Florida, Louisville, Georgia Tech, those are the main competition I hear with him. I'm not ready just to put that first forecast in since there hasn't been one yet, but if I was making a pick today, I would pick FSU. There's the school I feel the most comfortable with. He's close friends with Jackson West. He really likes Coach Norvell. He likes Coach Woodson. He's got good ties with Coach Dillingham. Everything he does and what Norvell does with the tight end seems to fit what River Helms wants. So I think, if you add all the tea leaves up, you would think that FSU should get some good news with, Mr. River Helms, who has the best name in the world for a tight end. I mean, who wouldn't want a tight end named River? So October 15th, excuse me. So he's going to announce October 15th. So I think right now FSU would be my pick, but I haven't put the forecast in just yet. I'm just waiting for a final confirmation to make sure that that's where things are trending. But if you add up all the tea leaves and stuff I've heard, I think FSU would be my pick today.
All right. I'll put Ray back on the screen. I'm going to see if I can get it to
Here we go.
Let me see if I actually get it to properly work. I don't know. The thing keeps dropping off. If we can't get the horn, then I don't know what I'm going to do, man. It's going to be a really sad day, and no one's going to have any fun. I'm just kidding. I got a new toy, Michael. I'm trying to see if it works. There it goes.
There we go. Horn time.
Bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all.
There we go. Yeah, a little bit of sauce. There we go, man. The horn lives. The horn's going nowhere. Sorry, Gator Kirk. Sorry, Swole Knoll. Shane Gibbs asks, Michael, are we losing our lead with Hill? 863 Seminole TV. Destin Hill seems like he has gone quiet. Any updates? Obviously, we're concerned about Destin Hill, a.k.a. Payson.
Yeah, well, for those that didn't know, he changed his name from a last name from Payson to Hill. I don't know the story behind that, but it's Destin Hill now. But he's been quiet the whole year, 863. I mean, to be honest, I mean, he hasn't said a lot, throughout the year. Certainly, Florida's making a little bit of a surge, but I caution people to just freak out and panic over that. I think really the key for him for FSU is basically just them going out there. If they show the product consistently all year that we saw on offense on Saturday, I still think he's going to sign with FSU. I think they will get him. So yes, there is a little bit of a momentum for Florida. Yes, he's they're actually, caught his attention just with the offense, and why wouldn't they? I mean, if I was a recruit, I saw that offense, I would be impressed. So I think they've caught their attention. I think it's mainly them. I don't hear so much about Alabama. So I think there's a slight concern as far as just the interest level is kicking up, and certainly he's responding to that interest level, and he certainly likes what he's seeing so far. But I think you got to be careful just reading too much into that. The relationships with this staff go very deep. So I think at the end of the day, he's got the best relationships with the FSU staff. If they show a productive offense on the field and show how they can utilize the receivers and utilize him, I still think I like their chances to win out. And that's still, I feel confident still where my forecast is. I still think it would be FSU. But yes, Florida's making it, a battle. They're going to have to work for it. And, the product on the field is big. And, as far as what you look on offense, and that's really a key. And I think if they do that, I think they'll be able to land this kid. But at the same time, they're going to have to work for it.
All right. Very well. Speaking of relationships, Mike Ostian asked, what's your take on Luke Altmaier? Will he hold his commitment? I really like this guy in South Georgia, Danelius Johnson, linebacker from Pierce County, a hard hitter. OMG. So which one do you want to go with first, Michael?
Okay. Well, I don't know much about Danelius. I'd have to look him up. Obviously, Pierce County is known for very good athletes and very good, certainly linebacker play. So I'd have to research him. My take on Altmaier is, yes, as I said last chat, I mean, there's a concern mainly for Ole Miss because, Ole Miss's offense looks really good. The first 2 weeks, they've looked sharp. Certainly an offense that's fun to watch when you watch them on TV. But at the same time, it's one of those another ones where I pump brakes, where you have to understand how deep those relationships go with Norvell and Dillingham. And I think really the big key is that offense. If that offense keeps going, get on track, I still think he'll end up in this class. Now, it is a concern. Am I concerned? Yes, I'm concerned because Ole Miss is a legitimate threat. It's in state. You have to be concerned with that. That's certainly there. You can't just blow it off and be naive and think that it's not there. So that is a concern. But I think FSU can handle their side of the bargain as long as they go out there, show an improved product and consistent product on offense and the offensive side of the ball. I think the relationships with FSU are just better than what they are at Ole Miss. Even though it's in state, I just think the relationships are longer. Those relationships mean something, but you have to make sure you don't give him a reason not to go to your school. So I think as long as they don't fall flat on their face and go back to what we saw the first two games, I think they can pull this out and they'll be able to solidify him. Just to give a tip, Luke's an early enrollee. And the other thing is, Luke has not indicated, or not Luke, but FSU is not. I don't get a feeling that FSU is pushing for other quarterbacks, or even intrigued about other quarterbacks, or even looking at other quarterbacks. So that's definitely not a bad sign. As far as that goes with Luke Altmaier, but it is a concern, and they are going to have to keep working. They're going to have to work for this, just like Payson. They got to work for him, and they need to make sure they don't do something to give them a reason not to go to FSU. And so they're going to have to work, and Ole Miss is going to put them to work. Ole Miss is going to make them work for this commitment. So there is concern, but at the same time, there's a level of that. Luke has not said, to me, like, I'm concerned as far as where this thing's going, as far as where the product's going. But at the same time, when you have an in-state school that's lighting up the scoreboard like they are at Ole Miss, that's certainly an intriguing option and certainly very enticing. So I think they are a threat.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you folks, we always talk about local pressure, and we think it's like this evil boogeyman kind of thing. It's just going to high school every day. It's growing up living in Starkville, and people are like, hey, going to Florida State, and then they just lose to Notre Dame by 28, and they lost by 4. Like those little things, you keep hearing that over and over and over. And then if there's another option that's kind of close by, the SEC means a lot to kids that play in Mississippi. Those sort of things can happen. But yeah, man, just get a little bit better, like you said, Michael. Show some progress, and we'll
and I think it's a big deal that they have those close relationships, because if they didn't have those close relationships, I would probably put it at DEFCON 4 out of 5. But they have those relationships. That's a big deal when you have somebody in Memphis, Tennessee, when he was at Memphis, that this kid trusts, his family trusts, they know really well. So that alone is keeping, them, kind of steady. But at the same time, you can't give them a reason not to go there. So you have to keep progressing on the field. So the kid doesn't have a reason where, okay, these guys are struggling. This other school's not. It's not far from home. The pressure of going there, might be better if I stay at home.
I found Denelius Johnson.
Okay.
You want to look at his tape together, Michael, or you want to do some live
Sure.
scouting?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do live scouting, everybody. Denelius Johnson. Denelius. Apologize, I'm saying your name incorrectly. We're going to scout you out, though, here, so have thick skin. It's a tough crowd right here. AKA Man. 6 foot, 215 linebacker. Let's see what we got, Michael.
Okay.
Let's see how he triggers. That was fast.
Yeah,
All right. That's good.
Gets in the backfield quick.
Okay. Oh, did he pick it up and run it back?
That's the other guy.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh gosh, he's like Superman. What, Pierce County? This is like a good program, Michael.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty consistent. I like the way he triggers in short space. I like the way he plays in short space when I'm watching him. Don't see so much in coverage, but really at Mike, you don't really need coverage. You need sideline to sideline, and he does that well. Like to see more of. They're not really blocking this guy. I mean, this guy's just going in there like a heat-seeking missile. So you don't see a lot of him having to shed blocks yet.
Yeah,
but
he's finding the ball though, Mike. I like it. Just find the football.
Yeah,
man.
Instincts are very good. When you watch this kid, I certainly like the instincts. So instincts and his explosion in short space, really stands out to me. Just watching this video clip that we're watching right now, breaking down this kid.
All right, we'll give some more thought to that when we get closer to the 2022.
I look at him. I like what I see so far. That's a good one, Mike. I look into him. There it is.
Look who is in the house, James B. We appreciate you, man. Always coming through. Big time. Hit it one time for him, Aslan. Why won't my toys work, Michael? What's wrong with toys, man? I'm not happy about my toys not working. We do appreciate it, James. Do you know any of this thing? Has Dion mentioned anything about Florida State's recruiting over the past few years?
Yeah, I haven't heard what he's referring to about thoughts on Dion's comments about Florida State recruiting. I haven't heard anything with that, so I can't really respond to that. As far as judging the character, yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, because that's all about the fit. If you look at every kid that Norvell's got, even from last year, even the commitments that they have in this year's class, character is a big deal, and it is a difficult part of recruiting. I don't know if it's the most difficult. I mean, the most difficult is probably, can this kid play in our system? I'd say that's the most telling. But I think that's a big deal with Norvell. If you look at all the places he's been, he wants the right character in as far as on and off the field, and that's a big deal with him as far as having fit. And you see that with the kids he's adding. He wants the kids to know what they're getting into. He wants to have good kids that understand. That have the right mindset when they come in here, that they're coming here to take somebody's spot. So that, I mean, if you just have the mindset of just being a good player, that's good and not good enough for him. He wants guys that want to go in there, have the mindset that I'm going to take somebody's job, and also have the mindset of, to do right things. They're going to represent FSU the right way, the way that he thinks they should. And so I think, yes, that's a big part of it.
Try one more time. Trying to do the right thing. Come on. This is just, what a sad day for your boy, everybody. What a sad, there, no, we're back. We're back. Little Dion. Speaking of Dion, little Dion there for you, James. We appreciate it. We got folks, we got a Miami fan in here. I don't know if I pull up the question. I don't know if he's trying to troll us here, Michael. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt if I can locate it here.
Okay.
Basically wants to know the chances y'all, that's us, Florida State, flip Seymour away from Miami.
I think with the New King, appreciate I don't know if you're trolling or not, but either way,
he's
cool.
a Miami fan, but he seems like an all right enough guy.
No, I mean, you're cool. So I think he probably sticks with Miami right now, New King, just because, I mean, they've had a really good year. Certainly, I still think they need offensive line help there in Miami. Surely, the guy from Houston has helped them some, and there's been some add development there. But I think with the season they're having, it's hard for me to see him flipping away from Miami unless he just feels like, hey, there's another school that just I can go in there and play earlier, or I can get on the field earlier. I just feel the offense fits me better. I'm just not seeing that yet. I'd say right now, as of today, I would say I think Seymour would probably stick with Miami if I was making a bet, but that's kind of where I think it stands today.
Wayne Baldy off Facebook asks, is there a speedster athlete that we may have a shot at?
Well, I think Katravion Hargrove is a very good speedster. I mean, at running back, that's a guy that brings a lot of wheels to the table. Big time threat as far as a receiving threat at the backfield, as far as a running back. Can kind of do a little bit of everything. I think his first game he had like 185 yards and 3 touchdowns, I think, last weekend. So he's definitely a speedster. Most of their speedsters, though, are in the 2022 class. Aaron Knighton out of Tampa is one. I think Brennan Thompson is another one that's out of the Midwest area that he's a speedster as well. So I think most of the speeds you're talking about are probably in the 2022 class. Outside of that, I don't think there's a guy that they're pushing for that holds what you're referring to, Wayne. But I think Katravion fits kind of the mold as far as what you look for speed. This kid's lightning fast.
Back to Mims. Michael Carpenter, realistic odds, we get him.
Yeah, I just covered that earlier, when with the caller and Mims. I would pick Georgia if I was picking somebody, but FSU, Alex Atkins has the best relationship. That's straight from Amarius Mims himself. So that's a big deal when it comes to offensive linemen. So could he pull a surprise? Yeah. Would I be stunned? No. I mean, a lot of people would be stunned, but I would not be stunned just because of when you say the offensive line coach is your best coach or the one you're most comfortable with or the guy that you had the best relationship with. That's a big deal. Would I pick FSU? No, I would pick Georgia. But that's kind of where I stand. I think this weekend is a big deal just for him to see the product on the field. I'm sure he's going to be watching Georgia because Georgia plays, I think, Tennessee this weekend. Forget what time. I want to say 3:30. But either way, I'm sure he's going to be watching them. Like Alabama has not sure if Alabama plays this weekend. But I just think that, as I said before, they've done everything they could do in this recruitment for Amarius Mims. I think they've done everything. Everything with Amarius Mims, they've done everything they can do. Georgia's obviously Georgia. You look at those dudes. I watched their whole game last week against Auburn. They got some dudes up front, like both on offensive line, defensive line. So being a part of a consistent program, I could see easily why he would go to the Georgia. I think that's what it's about. So at the end of the day, probably I'd pick Georgia, but unlike other people, probably in the media profession, they would be stunned if it was FSU. I would not be, just because of that relationship that Dillingham and Atkins have already done. And sometimes kids just want to go somewhere different. That's why I wouldn't be stunned, but Georgia would be my pick. Okay.
Look at Derek Adams. Welcome to the show, Derek. Man, what we do around here is hopefully give a little air horn. And also
dollar bills, y'all.
That's right. Appreciate it, Derek. All right, who are the top 5 players that FSU has recruited and signed since you've been on the beat, Michael?
Well, I've been on the beat for 20 years, so that's a long time. I would have to put Dalvin Cook very high up there. Dalvin's he's the best running back I've ever seen as far as out of high school. That kid is a freak. I haven't seen anybody in short space that does what he does. Obviously, Jameis was pretty special at quarterback. Those are certainly guys that just really just jump out to me. Linebacker, Marvin Jones was ridiculous. That was like before I even was doing what I'm doing. He was just ridiculous, the stuff he did out of high school. And then trying to think of other guys.
Who's ranked ahead of Dalvin Cook? There's a running back ranked ahead of Dalvin Cook? Joe Mixon. All right, Joe Mixon's all right. Ooh, look at this class. Woo. Look at this. What is it, 2014? Yeah. Joe Mixon, Dalvin, Christian McCaffrey. That's some players. And then a bunch of guys I've never heard of. Brandon Powell, that worked out. Not really. Yeah, who are these guys? Look at man. All right. Let's not
and then the other guys, I would have to throw Peter Work in there. You have to. I mean, he is
but you
just.
weren't covering him. You weren't covering that. You're doing.
I was covering when Peter was in high school. I was doing Florida varsity.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, I've been doing that a while. So
Michael, you've been around forever then.
I've been around for a while. So no, they've had some dudes. Those are guys that just kind of. But there's probably more. I mean, there's probably more. Jalen Ramsey was a freak. I mean, he just did a lot of things. Derwin James, I think that you have to put those guys up there. So those are some of the guys. I'm not going to list everybody, but those are some of the guys that I've followed. Because the thing is, like I've been doing this for 20 years, but I've been doing recruiting evaluations probably on scouting kids in high school probably since I was 10. So I just loved high school football. So I've been around a lot of these guys, seeing how they develop throughout their whole career. So those are some that just really jump out to me. We're watching clips of Dalvin Cook, and this is, you got to think about, this is just the lesser version of Dalvin before he got to FSU and he got bigger. But this just shows you like just the explosibility of this kid, and just how he changes games. The way he hits that cut, the first cut, and the acceleration is that's just not normal, Aslan. That's just not normal. And now he's doing it with the Vikings. Dude's a freak. I mean, dude's just one of the best I've ever seen at FSU, and just one of the best players overall that I've seen, that FSU signed. I mean, he does things that are ridiculous. His vision is ridiculous. He even played a little defense at Central here, getting picks and just making people look stupid. The guy's a freak.
I've never seen anybody. I mean, accelerate is probably the right word, but I mean, he got faster when he would turn a corner.
Yeah.
Like you have to slow down a little bit, but he would get faster. Just a freak, like you said, amazing. I wish I could have been like in a room when Jimbo or whoever first saw Dalvin at Florida State and was like, all right, like, what do you think about this guy? And it's like, all right, well, we're going to Miami right now. Get the jet, get it fueled up. We're leaving right now.
Well, you got to think about it too. He first committed to Clemson,
yeah,
and then later switched to Florida, which is even worse for FSU. Then at the Under Armour game, he announced like in a pre-recorded thing at the Under Armour game that he's going to FSU, and that was one of the biggest coups that they had. I mean, there's not a bigger coup as far as recruitment or adding a recruit than when they got that kid, because this kid was, I mean, the moment he got on the field for FSU, he was ridiculous, just talent. It just changed the whole game when FSU was playing, when that guy was on the field.
How about this guy? Let's look at some of the highlights from this guy. This guy was pretty all right. Oh, come on, internet. Come on, internet. Figure it out. Come on, Comcast. You guys start putting Comcast on the show. Come on, man. I saw the first.
I had so many good stories about Jameis, because it was like I first went over there when I first watched him, like, because I knew that I was like, that's this kid, Hueytown, Alabama, which, by the way, that's like a really small school. Like, it's not really small, I shouldn't say that, but just not a predominantly power before Jameis got there. But this guy could just read the field ridiculously good. He could see things before they happen, and just how he could break down a defense was really impressive when you watched him in high school. And even the first time I interviewed him, we did a video interview, and he this is when he had already committed to FSU, and he said chomp instead of chop, and so a lot of FSU fans got frustrated. Because, I mean, he's a kid that obviously doesn't have a long history of what, Florida State is as far as, but I told him, it's like, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. So he came back the next day, and I think he came out there and said, no, I meant chop. So he's a fun-loving guy. He's a great family. I've got to know their family really well throughout that whole recruitment, and just a fun guy to be around as far as covering him, but just a dynamic athlete. I mean, just a dynamic quarterback. There's guys that just had certain feels for the game, when he got to college.
I mean, we just saw some of Luke Altmaier's tape. Luke Altmaier's tape looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Jameis just, like Dalvin, like that's what we need.
Yeah.
Those guys don't grow on trees though, and they don't come to programs that are going to go, 7-2, 8-3. I mean, maybe they would. No Life says Jameis, Dalvin, Ernie Sims,
Yeah.
Lindsey, Derwin.
Like I said, I could name a bunch of guys, but yeah, those are some good groups. No Life. I mean, I agree with you. Those are all solid prospects. I would say just consistently dynamic play. You would have to Larkus Joyner, that's another one. PJ Williams, covered him. All those guys are really good. I mean, I could sit here and list guys for days, but those are just guys that just jumped out to me.
Would you see PJ Williams' film and be like, this guy is like a potential shutdown first-round pick cornerback?
When I saw him,
Dalvin's tape, that was amazing. I've never seen his tape. That was amazing.
When I first saw PJ, and this is before really he blew up, to Callum Vanguard, that's where he played. I remember went to several games. This kid was so good at closing windows and passing windows. He wasn't the polished cover corner that we see with the Saints now, but you could see the skill set. I mean, he just needed to be taught. Obviously, we got to FSU. They taught him a lot of technique. Then he blew up but he was always a guy that he closed so many windows as far as passing windows, where he was so fast at reading. His instincts were so fast that you knew when he got taught hand technique and foot technique and how to position himself better. Yeah, I thought he was going to be a top player. That's why I mentioned him. But LaMarcus Joyner, everyone knows about him. He was a 5-star. He was just a freakish athlete. Played one of the fastest. He just plays fast. I mean, that kid always plays fast, and he's just always around the ball and making plays. He's another one that you saw that stuff, but then you didn't really see him develop to the level until he got to FSU. Then he started getting technique. That's when his game really took it to another level. All right. Telvin Smith, another one. I mean, Telvin Smith was a freak at Lowndes High School.
Yeah, everybody's mentioning, pretty much everybody that's ever gone top 10 first-round pick in FSU history right now. Timmy Jernigan, Marty, someone's even.
Yeah, there's just so many guys. It's hard to pinpoint 5, but those are a few that just jump out to me.
Okay. All right, man. Phone lines are a little bit quiet. Questions are kind of winding down as well. Then, so let's turn this to the PRB. Then, Michael, what's going to be going on over at the PRB with some of the updates and the nuggets you're working on right now?
Yeah, like I said, I've been worked on this nuggets all day. There's going to be 4 of them, so there's going to be a lot. The last one's going to be the longest. So there's going to be extensive updates on all the, a lot of the targets. There's going to be extensive updates on, different other things. I even throw in some guys that I'm not saying FSU's pushing yet, but they're guys to keep a watch for. So I got a few guys that nobody's mentioning yet that you want to see. Just going to be a lot of stuff, and I will answer all your questions after we wrap this thing up. Today as far as this recruiting chat, and but it'll be extensive and detailed, and I think it'll touch on a lot of things. Now, if you're looking for it to be, there'd be a lot of JUCO stuff. I don't think that's quite yet until I think when we get to late October. That's when I expect to see some movement with JUCO. So if you're thinking that, or grad transfers, that's going to be a little longer. But I am going to touch on several things like early enrollees. The latest on certain key guys. The latest on running back Jalen White, who originally was going to commit, didn't commit. Is he a take for FSU? I kind of addressed that stuff, and then just other things, and just really just break down all the targets.
All right, folks, that's right. Head over to warchant.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT30 if you're not already a member. Michael's going to have exclusive insight for our subscribers, so do head over there and check it out. Also, big thanks to Ray Pereira, James B., and Derek Adams for the tips in the virtual tip jar. We do appreciate it. It's a virtual tip jar, but the money's real, so that's super cool. A little bit of that.
$1 bills, y'all. Dollar bills, y'all.
And a little bit of that as well, too. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you over at warchant.com.
We are sorry, but the show has ended. Goodbye.
Later, everybody.